All right, boys, if you want to go to college, you have to clear out another one of these.
What if we told you there was a better way to save for your kids' college than pickle jars? Morris Bank's Savings Builder account and Moolah makes saving for your kids' college easier than ever. All you have to do is connect the account to your debit card, where it automatically rounds up your purchases to the nearest dollar, depositing that spare change into a Moolah account where it will grow into a nice little nest egg for whatever your kids have their sights set on.
I'm the Executive Director of RISEUP, and I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. Each and every one of you, you may not know it, but you each have a purpose and a meaning for being here, so thank you so, so much. RISEUP was created in 2018 to meet a need in the recovery community. Peers led listening sessions with people in recovery and asked, what can RISEUP do for the community? We heard loud and clear the need for a place where people in recovery could come and just hang out. We needed a place where we could connect. RISEUP offered and still does offer linkage to many resources helping people in job searches, getting their license, finding food, clothing, and shelter. Now we find ourselves 2 years into a pandemic that declared Georgia a state of emergency and banned public gatherings. Soon we found ourselves sheltering in place, businesses and schools were closed, and social distancing became the new catchphrase. A pandemic that in 1 year, over 100,000 people died of drug overdose. I'm gonna say that again. 1 year, a 12-month period, over 100,000 people died of overdose, of drug overdose. At this time, we want to show you guys a clip from Neil Campbell from Georgia Council on Substance Abuse.
Hi, this is Neil Campbell, the Executive Director at the Georgia Council on Substance Abuse. Yesterday, we learned some numbers from Washington that threw me for a loop. We learned that over 100,000 Americans died of overdose in a 12-month period. That's historical, it's groundbreaking, it's never happened before. Folks, this is the epidemic within the pandemic, and every indication is that the pandemic has made this epidemic worse. We have to do something about overdose. We need structural change on the national, state, and local levels. We can't wait any longer. We need a shared vision of how we're going to help people. We're in crisis. So when I think about this, I think about a multi-pronged approach. We need early intervention, we need prevention, we need treatment, and we need recovery support services on a level we've never seen before, because the problem is at a level we've never seen before. So watch this space. We'll be talking to you more in the next couple of weeks about things that we can do and things that we will be demanding. Thanks.
So here today, 2 years into this pandemic, a pandemic that changed the world that we live in and changed the needs for this rural community. We are here today to ask, what support does the recovery community need from RISEUP? What are we doing right? What could RISEUP do better for the recovery community? And what keeps you, the recovery community, hopeful for the future? We have a very, very special award that we want to present to a very special person to all of us. It's a Recovery Champion Award, and I looked up the definition for recovery and champion. Recovery, and so many of us in this room are going to understand this. Recovery is a return to a normal state of health, mind, and strength. Anybody out here identify with that? Champion is a person who fights or argues for a cause on behalf of someone else. This person has one of the biggest hearts that you will ever find. They are genuine and one of the hardest workers I've ever met. They strive every single day to make an impact on others, and they do. Whether it's venting about life or arguing about how hot it is in my office, this person is a blessing and a true recovery champion. And I'd like to ask someone to come in, if they would, to present this award.
My name is Brad Yancey, and I am Steve's oldest brother. We got a middle brother, he's in Charleston. But I was asked by Tina, of all things, we were at a wedding together. My first cousin's daughter got married. And she and I spoke, and she'd asked me if I would be interested, if I was able to speak and present Steve this award. And I said, absolutely. So just a little bit, and I won't take much time because I know this is on schedule, but when this award, which states Recovery Champion Award, I can't really tell you what he's gone through. And the many prayers that were lifted, especially by my mama and me and my brother. And I get emotional because I've dealt with this since Steve's been in college. But he's a living testimony that the good Lord, and I tell you something, good Lord changed Steve. And it's not a temporary change, it's been a sustained change. I got a call, well, my wife told me, she said, if you want to talk to your brother, you better go, you better call him. He's not going to be here much longer. So I called Steve, he called me, I called, and Sheila, my wife, went down to Albany, Georgia one night about 10 o'clock, and I picked Steve up. Steve had literally been beat to a pulp. Broke his jaw, just left him, somebody just beat him and left him for dead. So I went and got him, brought him home, got back, this was a Sunday morning, we got back, and my wife took him out to the hospital, and through many surgeries and through many debilitating appointments with doctors, he has he's got through that. And he said the other day, he said he wouldn't take, to get him to where he is now, he wouldn't take anything for it. He said, I'm like a mule with blinders. My granddaddy used to plow, had mules. If he even sees the appearance of something that's not right, he turns his head and he goes the other way. And you gotta want change. And if you want change, you can change, but you gotta genuinely want it. So anyway, my mama, I'm so thankful that my mama got to see how Steve turned out. And I am too. I love him. And this is probably the most important day of my week for his meetings, where I work, and I'm working remotely today. But I want to present him, come on up, Steve. I want to present this to my baby brother. Appreciate that. It's a testament. Anyway, and Steve's got the most caring heart for people. He's like my daddy. Yeah, and I've got a caring heart, but I tell you what, Steve, he goes above and beyond. If he sees somebody that's in need, he's going to try his best to make sure if he can do anything to help them and let them know that they're cared about because they're somebody's son or daughter, husband or wife, brother or sister. You know what? And we're all on this earth, and you know what? And that words mean a lot, but actions in the service mean everything. So anyway, I can't say enough about y'all have got a fantastic individual in this program and what he works, and I know he makes a difference. Thank you.
I'm Heath Richter, and we just want to invite everybody to come on down to the Houston Clinic and check us out at our new facility. We've been in Dublin for a while now, obviously, but have a new office here, and we'd just like you to come down and see some of the new stuff we're offering. And if you need to get checked out, we'd be glad to do that for you. We've got able to do some ultrasound-guided injections now, and physical therapy, and just a little bit better space, so hopefully we can get you in and out of here a little bit quicker.
Come by and see us today at our brand new location, the Houston Clinic, Medical Drive in Dublin.
Conservative treatment options are typically where we start with both knee and hip arthritis. So if you come in to see us and your hip is beginning to be arthritic or your knee's beginning to be arthritic, there's sort of a stepwise approach that we take. Anti-inflammatories, which are medicines like Motrin, Advil, Aleve, are usually sort of first line. We have prescription forms of those medications that we can use. In our elderly population, that becomes a little more difficult because they have comorbidities, things like diabetes or stomach ulcers or disease, that they can't take those medications, even hypertension. So we'll try to treat them with medications if it's appropriate. When it's not, then we go on to things like injections. So cortisone injections, or there's these things called visco injections or visco supplements, which are lubricating type injections that we can use to treat knee arthritis as well as hip arthritis to try to control people's pain. And a lot of times we do that for years for people before they get to the point where those are no longer working and we're ready to talk about knee or hip replacement.
Hello, my name is Tiffany Green. We're located inside of the Dublin Mall at Tafarum. We offer lash services, eyebrow waxing, and full body waxing, colonic therapy, and also yoni steams. Call us for more details at 478-274-9490. Thank you.
Hello, we're all from Abundant Life, and we're here to introduce Miss Amelia Contreras. Amelia is 35, happily married with 6 children. She was at ABL in late 2010 through early 2011 for 6 months. She came through ABL pregnant and had the baby during her time at ABL. After accepting she had to make a change in her life, she began embracing the resources and things available to her at ABL. She now has been in recovery for 11 years and 4 months. Here is Miss Amelia.
Y'all, I didn't expect this many people to be here. It looks great, by the way. Okay, I'm going to start with just giving a little bit of brief history about who I am. As a child, I grew up in another state. I was born in another state, moved to Dublin, where all our family is originally from. I have a great family. My father is a pastor. My mother is an administrator at a nursing home. I grew up with a great family, however, they were separated. In that divide, I was kind of torn between my mom and my dad. But in the end, it worked out better that way. In 2000, well, I don't know the year, but I was 16 years old. I went out on a teen night, and unfortunately, I put myself in a position where I was date raped. Through that date rape, I conceived a child, or a child was conceived. That child is now 18 years old and a senior in high school. My belief was I put myself in that position and I was not going to harm a child based on my experience. So I chose to keep the child, and my family supported me through that. Shortly after that, I met somebody else and had a child with that person. Unfortunately, he decided he wanted somebody else, so in the end, he wound up leaving me and selling everything that I owned. At the time, I was pregnant and went into labor in Chicago and left there to have our premature child alone. Later on, I wound up meeting another person and marrying him. Through that, we had another child who passed away in 2009. Unfortunately, she was premature also and didn't make it. Through that hurt and being upset, not only with the person that I was with at the time, but the total loss of not having that child that I wanted so dearly, I chose to start using things that were things that I shouldn't be trying to use. I had some people that were around me that suggested that would help cover up some of the pain, and I chose to use those things. Through that, unfortunately, I ended up losing my kids. I went through a safety plan with DFACS. I chose to go through that safety plan and work as hard as I could to be able to get my kids back. DFACS and a lot of other people and organizations were a big part of that. One of my children stayed with her father, who was in the military, and in 2019, he wound up taking his own life. She wound up coming back home, but through that trial has been another set of experiences. Not only did it hurt me, but it hurt to see my child suffer through that. But now, there's a few people that really stick out in my recovery over the last 11 years, maybe 4 months, almost 3 more days, 4 months. And that was some of the ladies that I worked with at DFACS, Angie and several others, Lee. There was quite a few people involved. I can say for one that DFACS was very serious about trying to get me back on track so that I could have my babies. And that was one of the most beneficial things for me, was to become a mom and to be a good mom, to be able to raise my kids and have them there with me. They gave me the resources that I needed to get through. Another big resource was Tina, and I'm assuming she's not here today, unfortunately. She suffered a great loss, and my heart is with her through that. But she was there by my side. There were several other people that were involved in this. Of course, my higher power is number one. But now I'm happily married, and every single day I choose to go to work to serve the public. And in that, I don't judge because I know where I came from. I don't harass them about the things that they're going through. I just try to give them solutions to what they need. My heart is helping people. A lot of people don't see my profession that way, but I'm trying to make it a different world. But I can only do that one step at a time. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate your time.
Spring has sprung here at Dublin Chevy Nissan in Dublin, Georgia. Our inventory is blooming with new Pathfinders, Frontiers, Yukons, and Tahoes. And with spring break coming up, there's never a better time to come into our award-winning service department for a checkup. And remember, Doug sells service well. With that spring trip coming up, there's never a better time to find a new or pre-owned SUV. If you see an HD or a Tahoe on our lot or online, don't wait, or you'll miss out. Hurry in to Dublin Chevy Nissan.
The City of Dublin Natural Gas provides the most cost-efficient source of energy available today. So for your home, choose the most natural resource. Safe, clean, efficient. All new subdivisions around the Dublin area have natural gas available. Start reducing your energy bills today with Dublin City Natural Gas Department. Natural gas, the smart choice. Call 277-5048 today and let us help you start saving today.
Here at Stepping Stone, you are never alone. If you or someone you know has been a victim of sexual assault, please call our fully confidential crisis number at 478-595-8339.
Whether you're looking for your first home or your dream home, you can always depend on XL Realty Group and Keller Williams Realty Middle Georgia. Our agents are committed to providing you with the highest quality client and customer service. Call one of our agents today. Tiffany Green, Sophia Jordan, JoBeth Bailey Rozier, Phil Dudley Jr., Jarvis Green, Tara Williams, Phyllis Rogers, or Diane Robertson. When making this type of investment that buying a home requires, you need to call the experts at XL Realty Group and Keller Williams Realty Middle Georgia. Each office is independently owned and operated.
So again, my name's Ashley Black. I'm a person in long-term recovery. And what that means to me is I'm about to celebrate 5 years clean. Today I have the pleasure of introducing someone who, when I first, I'm gonna end up crying, first came in the rooms, I saw her and I wanted to be like her. I saw that freedom she had and that glow that she just lit up a room. A couple months ago, I got the pleasure of finding out that she was going to be my boss, and I was so ecstatic to find out she was joining our Rise Up team. So without further ado, Ashley Dykes. Okay, so I'm Ashley Dykes. I am also a person in long-term recovery, and what that means for me is that I have not had a mind or mood-altering substance since August the 1st of 2016. The last few days I've been kind of toying with what to say. Should I say this? Maybe I shouldn't say this. But all I can do is stand up here and tell you my story. All I can do is stand up here and tell you what happened to me, what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. I can't stand up here and tell you that I had a traumatic childhood. I didn't. No trauma, no abuse, no unloving parents. I grew up in an amazing home. Both parents are here today, still married. Loved me, spoiled me. Was the only child. So I can't tell you that I grew up in a bad home. I didn't. What I can tell you is the feelings that I've had since I can remember. My very, very first feelings, tiny, 5 and 6 years old, were that I didn't fit in. I felt unlovable. Even at that age, I felt like something was wrong with me. Again, I didn't fit in. I had this huge hole right here. This void that, well, at that age I couldn't understand. So very quickly I realized that I had to do anything and everything I could do to fill that void. And of course, at that age, no drugs or alcohol, of course, but I found that I could lie and get my way. I could use people to make me feel good at that age. I realized that I wanted to numb how I was feeling about everything. I couldn't handle anything even at that age. So that progressed. Anytime I tried to fill that void with anything, the hole did not fill up. It only got bigger and bigger and bigger. So by the time I got to high school, I had no idea who I was. No idea. I was actually whatever you wanted me to be. Nikki, I would have been what you wanted me to be. Mom, I was trying to be what you wanted me to be. Calvin, I'd have been what you wanted me to be. Erica, every one of you in here, I would have tried to be what I thought you wanted me to be. Because I thought that's where I was going to find my identity. I thought that's where I was going to start feeling that void, was through other people. So I quickly lost myself and became what everybody else wanted me to be. I felt worthless. And again, that hole of feeling worthless and unlovable only got bigger and bigger and bigger. So by the time I got to college, and that's all I wanted to do was get out of my parents' house and go, and go party. I mean, really, that's what I wanted to do. So about my first night when I moved to college, I got drunk, my first time, like really drunk. And for just a minute, I felt like maybe a little bit of that hole was filled, just a little bit. And that I could talk to everybody. Because whether y'all believe it or not, I'm basically pretty shy. So it enabled me to talk to everybody. I became the social butterfly, but only when I was drinking. When I wasn't drinking, I was miserable. I was miserable anyway. But that first night I got drunk, I got so sick. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. I got so sick, but I knew, because it numbed everything, it put a Band-Aid on everything for just a little while. I knew I was going to do it again. I didn't care how sick I got. It put that Band-Aid on that void for just a little while. And I thought, this is it. Finally I've got something that's going to fill that void. It's going to make me whole. Y'all hear the phrase 10 feet tall and bulletproof? That's how I felt. Not to mention I'm almost 6 feet tall. I've got little bullet points here that I'm trying to, keep up with. The next one says nowhere. And I don't know, when I was doing this, it just kind of popped in my head, nowhere. And from college till about I was 26, that's exactly where I was, nowhere. I was lost. I was scared. All those feelings that I had as a child, still there. Unlovable, worthless. Relationship after relationship. The void only got bigger. I was miserable. And I even had people tell my parents, she's one of the most miserable people I have ever seen. And I was. So at the age of 26, I got pregnant. And I'd love to stand here and tell you that I was excited. I was, of course. There's always a little bit of excitement, I believe, when a mother finds out or a woman finds out she's pregnant. Just a little bit, regardless of the circumstances. But that next thought was, this is going to ruin my life. If I have this child, there goes my fun. I'm not going to be able to do what I want to do. I can't live like I want to live. If I have this child, I've got to surrender most of my life to him or her. But y'all, when I had my son Addison, and a lot of y'all know him as Blue, and I had always wanted to be a mother. I always thought, okay, if I'm a mother and I get married, that's going to be my life. I just want to get married and have kids. That will make me whole. But when I had Addison, just for a little while, and I'm getting chills, that feeling of this is it, finally. I'm a mom. Even though I'm a single mom, I'm a mom. And I can remember my mom saying I took the role of mother very quickly. But it didn't take long before, I was tired. I was finding excuses. I was tired, so I need to take something to wake me up. I can't go to sleep, so I need to take something to put me to sleep. And I started that vicious cycle of uppers and downers and basically whatever I had to do to function and to make it through a day. So when Addison, and my mom is a nurse, and she noticed things with Addison a lot longer, or way before I did. Well, I take that back. I probably noticed them, but I didn't want to see them. And Addison was a late walker. He did a lot of things late, but that wasn't too uncommon. So I thought, oh, he's fine. So around 5 or 6, we started really noticing him having some issues, getting up off the floor, getting upstairs, getting in his bed. When he would walk upstairs, he would kind of pull one leg up a little bit. And even then, and of course my frame of mind, I said, oh, he'll outgrow it. It's just a phase he's going through. Well, not too long after that, he was diagnosed with Duchenne's muscular dystrophy. And again, I would really like to stand here and tell y'all that it broke my heart. And it did, of course it did, as much as it could. And I loved him, of course I did, but I didn't love myself. So there was no possible way I could really, really love someone else. I had no idea what it was. But with that diagnosis, again, the same thought process. This is going to ruin my life. All about me. Selfish to the core. And I think about things that Addison saw growing up. Places that I took him. And I was convincing myself that I was a good mom. And if I take him with me, and y'all excuse my terminology, to the dope house, I'm a good mom. At least I've got him with me, you know? Just impulsive, lack of thinking at all. If I thought it, I did it. I put absolutely everything before Addison, men, everything. So fast forward to August the 1st, 2016. I had been in a relationship for about 6 months. And the only way to put it was he was the dope man. And I can remember the thought process of, I'm something else, you know? I'm the dope man's girlfriend. That is how I felt back then. I was proud of it. So when he began beating me, that was okay too. That worthless, unloving, all those feelings still there. So what if he hits me? I probably deserve it. I was also one of those girls that said that would never happen to me, and if it did, because y'all, I'm not little and I don't play, okay? So I always said, if a man ever hits me, well, you better believe I'm gonna hit him back. Never even crossed my mind. He had what I needed, and I was gonna do whatever I had to do to get my drugs. So the beating only got worse. Every time it was, to begin with, it was in the ribs or something like that, where couldn't really see, and then it began on my face and things like that. And that caused me to pull away from everybody and everything. So August the 1st, 2016, my boyfriend at the time, the dope man, almost beat me to death. And I went to Wings. I couldn't let Addison see me like that, so I went to Wings. And on the second night there, I've still got my cell phone, so he's calling me and he's getting his buddies to call me, and they're trying to get me out. They're trying to get me to leave. So finally, and just thinking, well, I'm never going to change. I might as well go back out. I'm not going to change. So the second night at Wings, all I had was my cell phone and a pocket knife. And I remember these were bunk beds then. I had to pull myself up. I was so sore. So I pulled myself up and acted like I was being sneaky and walking down that long hallway in the back. and I was leaving. And like I said in the beginning, I can only tell you my story and what happened to me. As I'm walking down that hall, I literally hit a brick wall. I mean, like, and I can still see it, I still get chills. I mean, I'm walking and it's like something stopped me. And I heard a voice. And for the very first time, I listened. I like to argue. I like to argue about everything. But for some reason, I knew this voice meant business. So I said, okay. I turned my butt around, went and got back in bed, and the next morning, I got up and got a shower. And for the first time in my life, I didn't know what was about to happen. I didn't know what I was going to have to do, but I knew for the very first time something was about to change. I knew I was done. So let me tell you a little bit more about what addiction took from me. Everything. My self-worth, my mind, my body, and my soul. I thought I was going to die an addict. I didn't deserve any better. What has recovery given me? A purpose, a life, hope, peace, a desire to share what happened to me, even if it was only with one person. Because I knew somebody out there would have been through pretty much the same thing. We've all of us in here have a story. And all of us can identify with each other's story somehow. So I knew there was one person I would reach, at least. I have healthy relationships today. I got my family back. And I can't even begin to tell you the relationship that I have with Addison, my son. One of the biggest gifts of recovery has been the restoration of my relationships.
Hi, I'm Dr. Daniel Avery. I just want to say how excited I am to have the opportunity to work here at Central Georgia Primary Care. I'm just a stone's throw away from where I was previously, right next to Paul's Tire. You can call to get an appointment at that phone number, or you can come by and we'll be more than happy to get you scheduled.
Badcock Home Furniture and More is your home store, where you'll find great savings on new living room sets, sofas, love seats, recliners, and more. Badcock Home Furniture and More has great savings every day on bedding and bedroom sets. Shop Badcock Home Furniture and More for a great selection of dining room sets, and save every day on electronics and appliances at Badcock Home Furniture and More, 1927 Highway 441 South in Dublin. Call 275-3144 for more information, or stop by and see Wendy and Tim Sumner or any of their friendly staff today at Badcock and More Home Furniture Store, where no credit is ever refused.
Hi, I'm Kyle Gerard with A+ Flooring and Construction. We're standing in front of our brand new facility on 371 Georgia Highway 338. We are no longer at 1801 Rice Avenue. We have outgrown our facility there, and we had to have a bigger spot to serve all our customers. We can serve all your needs, all your flooring needs, all your construction, all your remodeling needs. So come see us at 371 Georgia Highway 338 or give us a call, 478-676-2662.
Jackson's Income Tax Service is ready to serve you. Jackson's Income Tax Service is open year-round, so don't delay. Come in today and get your taxes done and out of the way. Jackson's Income Tax Service has always stayed abreast of current and future tax laws. Email Jackson's Income Tax Service, call 272-8681, or visit us at 610 North Church Street in Dublin. Jackson's Income Tax Service is following CDC guidelines, practicing social distancing. You may drop off, email, or mail in your information for professional tax return services.
So come to Jackson's Income Tax Service,
where experience makes the difference.
I would like to introduce our next speaker. Now, I was trying to think of all, because I could get everyone's paper in here and write something of what I would want to say introducing this woman. She's my best friend. So y'all please help me welcome my mom.
Did I clone her? I'm so glad she's mine. John and I are so glad she's ours. What a beautiful crowd you are today. Would you believe this is the first time that I've heard Ashley's story sitting out there? Now, I know the story very well. Things that she couldn't even address because it would take a week, a year, for us to talk about everything that we've all been through. But this is the first time I've heard her sitting out there as a guest story. But there was also a time, as proud as I am of her today, my heart, my cup runneth over today. But there was a time I would have given Ashley to you. I was so disgusted, so unhappy by what she had brought into our home. Didn't get it, didn't understand it, because I had never had that issue. I had a very close friend that was an alcohol and drug addict. I didn't understand her, but I learned a lot from her. But when it came to my child, the one that had everything going for her, because Papa and I made sure Ashley had everything, she graduated with honors from a Christian school. We made sure she was in a Christian school because we are a family of faith. We didn't miss church. We were at Wednesday night suppers, family suppers. She was involved in the youth programs at church. We believed our higher power was our Heavenly Father. We still believe that. There are times there was no one else but Him that carried us, because it's been a long journey. But we're a family of faith. We didn't get this. Why would a girl that graduated with honors from a Christian school, that excelled in sports, all state player, basketball and volleyball, and was beginning a career in modeling, why would somebody that had it all want something that would eventually destroy her, destroy our family, or almost? It took a toll on our marriage. It took a toll on every aspect of our life. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Do you relate to me? I know you do. As a parent, I can look at you and tell you your heart hurts because you put your mom and dad or a family member in the same position that Ashley put us. I would go to bed at night, have to get up and throw up. So sick. What did I do wrong? What did we do wrong? As parents, where did we go wrong? We gave her everything. We had a comfortable lifestyle. But when things began to surface with Ashley at about an early teen, she had always been the most respectful, kind, never had to discipline Ashley. I could discipline Ashley with my eyes. She didn't have to be spanked. She was respectful, courteous, a sweetheart. She was affirmed by the family. There are 11 grandchildren on my side and on Daddy's side. 10 of those grandchildren were boys, or are boys. So all of her first cousins were boys. Ashley was the only granddaughter. So you can just imagine where she was in the pecking order when it came to affection, affirmation, adoration. She had it all. And the granddaddies, oh my goodness. John, her dad, who's sitting out here, his father was a very small man in stature, but very much a man's man. And we walk in one day, and his little princess had polished his fingernails and had tied pink or taped pink bows to his hair. Papa just didn't do that, okay? She was everybody's princess. She was the perfect child. And guess what? She was a daddy's girl. But some of y'all are a daddy's girl. She was a daddy's girl. I understood that because there was a time in my life I was a daddy's girl. My daddy was a Baptist minister. So I knew what it was like to be loved. But as she became a teenager, things began to change. Ashley had never been one to roll her eyes at me. And you can probably tell I have no problem in speaking my mind. I hope you like me. I want to be your friend, and I want you to be my friend. But I'm not going to lose sleep over it if you're not. Ashley would. She would lose sleep. It would make her sick if she thought somebody was angry with her or even upset with her. Again, that was that hole that we did not know existed. Had no idea because she had everything. She never questioned what we asked her to do. She wanted to please us, the desire to please. But with those teenage years, she began to roll her eyes when I would suggest she do something, and kind of have a different tone of voice, a tone of voice that we were not used to, especially me, because I've always been the disciplinarian, and Papa could always make things right. And honey, I'm not picking on you, but he was her enabler. She and Daddy could plan a lot of stuff that it might be best. Let's just not mention to Mom about all these speeding tickets that I've gotten. Daddy can fix that. So what do? Instead of setting boundaries and letting her know there are going to be consequences if you do this, we rewarded her. Let's just give her a new car. Or let's send her to the Bahamas with her best friend. we rewarded her for bad behavior. If we got mamas and daddies out here, don't do that. The word no is not a bad word. In fact, we use the word yes a lot, and it does. It affirms, it confirms, it shows them that we love them. But only the word no sets boundaries and shows them that there will be consequences. If you do this, there's going to be a consequence. So no is not an ugly word for an addict. Ooh, an addict. We've never said that word before. An addict in our house? You got to be kidding. But guess what? That surfaced in college. Didn't know much about it. Just heard rumbles of things. And then she really began to act out. We would get notification that one of her courses in that quarter had not been completed. Next time we would hear, she hadn't even been to class at all. She would call home. She stayed in touch because she had to keep us under control. She knew how to manipulate us. Y'all familiar with that word, manipulation? She knew how to do that. She didn't want to disappoint us in that way because she could not continue to live the lifestyle in that nice apartment that Mom had to make sure. And I fought myself with that, with so many things. But I wanted her college apartment to be pretty. I wanted to be what Ashley would be proud of, what I would be proud of. Nothing was too good for Ashley. Papa and I were wrong. There should have been consequences, but the consequences came later. Okay, moving forward now from college. The addiction became so severe, and with that came a little boy. But we didn't want that little boy. That was not the way a child was going to come to us as a grandchild. She wasn't raised that way. That is not what our Heavenly Father had in mind. He wanted a happy marriage and then a child. But that's not the way it worked out. And she came home that weekend and told us that she was pregnant at 25, right, Ash? He was born when you were 26. At 25 now, she comes home and tells us that she's pregnant. Okay, by this time we have relocated to Albany, Georgia. John had had a massive heart attack. That inherited DNA stuff. Never had a cigarette, didn't drink. None of us did. We had family prayer time. We never sat down at a meal that we didn't thank God for His blessings in that meal. We were a Christian family. We looked real good. We had it all. But when she came home that weekend, I can still see us sitting on the sofa. Here's Papa, here's Nana, and Ashley pulls up a chair in front of, kind of in between us. And, you know, we moms just have this little sense about us that daddies have some, but not quite what we moms do. The closer she pulled that chair, And the longer it took her to get the words out, my stomach or my heart just got sicker and sicker and sicker. I knew what was coming. I'm a pretty vocal person. If I'm thinking it, you really don't have a hard time figuring out what I'm thinking. I don't struggle with trying to tell you how I feel, hoping that you would do the same to me. But when she told us she was pregnant, that was, to me, the bottom of the barrel. How could you do this to us? We've been good parents to you, Ashley. We've given you, we've loved you, we've affirmed you. We did it all right, or we thought we did. And she said, I'm going to be a mommy. Whew. This was going to be so humiliating. My parents, my Baptist preacher father, whom had already gone to be with the Lord then, but my mother was still living. Her first cousins, some of the strongest Christian men that I know. Her brother, whom was 10 years old, who adored her. We had to tell them that. How embarrassing, how humiliating, degrading. I got so angry. I said things to Ashley that day that I meant to hurt her. I wanted to say things to hurt her, and I did. She's never forgotten those words. I've never forgotten those words. I didn't regret them then, because I was angry. She had just robbed us of everything. And I knew as a mom what was ahead for her in the responsibility of a child. But in the back of my mind, it was not going to be Ashley's child. This was going to be a child that Nana and Papa had to raise. Fast forward now. That precious little boy, who will be 16 next month, is the reason we get up every morning. He is our heart. But even after he was born, she hit rock bottom again. But and as she has said before, to get us off her back, she went into rehab. And they gave her, in those 9 months, a foundation. They gave her tools to work with. This was that promise of hope. We have promise of hope here today, don't we? Okay. Girls, love you. Love the place. Love your directors. So she got the tools to work with. And it lasted for a while. But she, as you addicts say, went back out. But we still had Blue, that little boy. And she was a good mom. When she was, quote, sober, very attentive mom. She's a phenomenal mom today. I can sit back and just, my heart literally bursts with joy when I see what an attentive, caring mom she is today. And I get to see firsthand, because she and Blue live with us, a lot of it out of necessity. because it now takes all 4 of us to care for him. He's confined to a wheelchair. He can no longer walk. He can no longer turn over in bed by himself. We have ceiling lifts in the house. He is our everything. But somewhere, that hole was still there that had not been filled even with a precious child. So as she's already mentioned, she meets, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, how a mom, or a mama bear, in this particular case, she meets this creep, okay? He was a creep. He's in prison today, still a creep as far as I'm concerned. The mama bear thinks he's still a creep. The mama bear, I don't wish him well. I think he should serve his entire life in prison. The mama bear thinks that. He deserves a life in prison. But the mom in me knows that I must forgive. I've got to forgive him. I'm still working on that. I'm still working on that. Because we know that he's only going to serve half his sentence. And then in a few months, he's going to be a free man. I learned to hate him when I was told that he stood at the door of my grandson when he was at her apartment, threatening to decapitate him if she came to us and told us what was going on and that she needed help. That he was going to kill her. He walked out of the apartment one day and got in his car to come and kill John and me. He was part of a big gang. They're out there, folks. Don't be fooled. They're out there. They're in Dublin. They're in surrounding counties. We know. We know. So do I love him? No. It's going to take a long time for me to love him. Ashley loves him. As a Christian, she's forgiven him. She wants the best for him. This mama bear, I don't want the best for him. I don't. I'm being honest with you. But the mom in me prays that he has had enough rehabilitation in prison and that he has surrendered. He has surrendered this disease of addiction. This disease of addiction. Guys and gals, it's a disease. Those of us that were blinded for many years thought, I can just change this. Why don't you just change this? It's a disease. It's a process of healing. Not just for you, but for your family. I want to show you something. Michael? I want you to look at this picture. This is Ashley. This is what I found in her apartment on a Saturday morning. Blue was spending the weekend with us. Thank goodness. And I get a text message, Mom, help. John happened to be outside working on his truck, cleaning out his truck. And I run out there and of course, again, we had to be with us. And I said, something's wrong with Ashley. He said, okay, I'm gone. I mean, because she only lived a mile from us. He goes up to her apartment, he cannot find her. Walks through the apartment, doors open, can't find her. Walks all around her apartment, can't find her. And he calls me and says, I can't find her. I said, come home. You stay with Blue. We can't let him know anything. If she sees me, she'll come to me. So he comes home and I go up there. And her door was open and I walk in and she's sitting in a rocking chair. But prior to getting in that chair, he had dragged her out in the woods and had beaten her, kicked her in the stomach numerous times, had taken a mirror and had broken it over her head. Pulled her out by the hair and left her there as he called one of his buddies of the gang to come pick him up. But they left her there. This mama bear doesn't like that man either. I don't wish him well either. But left my child, my baby, maybe in the woods to die. But as I walk in, she crawled her way back to her apartment. I walk in. Keep in mind, I'm a nurse, so I've seen a lot of blood and guts. But I walk in, and she's sitting there, and she has a cap on her head pulled down so I would not be able to see her face, her full face. All I could see was blood splattered all over the floor, the carpet, the walls, but mostly on Ashley. Her legs, those long legs were just running with blood. And her head was gushing with blood. This monster, this creep had done this to her, even though she defended him. She defended him. In fact, she tried to blame someone else. They had planned this. He had told her what to say. You've got to say it was so-and-so. You can't use my name. She couldn't get a breath to call my name. But she was so afraid if I saw her full face that I would probably go into shock and pass out. And from that moment on, I just remember thinking, oh my God, what did we do wrong? Is she going to live? Because as a nurse, I could look at her and tell this was going to be something bad. She may die. I didn't call the ambulance. I knew I could get her to the hospital quicker than they could get there and get back. She was gasping for breath, couldn't get a deep breath. And her left shoulder, she couldn't move her left shoulder. Of course, he had taken a clothes iron. Listen to me, addicts. Domestic abuse goes so often, so very often, hand in hand with addiction. Look it up, study it. It so often goes hand in hand with addiction. He had taken a clothes iron and had beaten her in her chest and her face. Look how swollen she is. He had taken his fist and beat her in the eyes and in the cheeks. It looked as if her shoulder was broken, and certainly ribs because she couldn't get a deep breath. I get her to the hospital, and the ER doctor was very kind. I did not notify the police at the apartment. I waited until we got to the hospital because I knew they would have to they would have to report that. And when he looked at her, the ER doctor looked at her before x-rays, and they did many, he looked at me and he said, one more hit to her head, and she wouldn't have made it. Because my question to him is she going to die? Is my baby going to die? We knew her life was being threatened if he found out that we had reported this. We knew that Blue's life was already being threatened and that our lives were being threatened. So we knew we had to get her to a safe place, and that was Wings. She was there a few days. But we also knew we had to get her out of Dublin for a very safe place where he and this gang could not find her. And it was in almost a desolate area of the woods, away from here. There, Ashley surrendered it all. We could tell in the third day after she had been there that something had changed within Ash. That wall that she and I had begun to have, because I was the vocal one and Papa was the one that fixed it, that wall just seemed to dissipate. She was there 9 months, right, Ash? Guess what? She came home a different woman. She came home with a hole that was now full of hope, of love like she had never had before. Even though she had loved Blue Boy, she'd never loved him like she loved him now. But she had had such an experience with her Heavenly Father. She had surrendered it all. This was my Ashley then, or our Ashy, as we called her then. Ash, would you come stand with me for a moment? I'm going to end with this, and I'm sure I have probably that Baptist preacher's kids come out in me. I finally got to preach today. You see that up there? And then you look at this. Do we believe or do we know that recovery is real? Oh, yes. It's real. It's real. It's real. And even better than that, you can and you will rise up. Yeah. You're going to rise up.
And we'll rise up, high like the waves. We'll rise up, inside of the egg. We'll rise up, do it 1,000 times again.
At Hangers Cleaners in Dublin, we really appreciate your business and strive for customer service and a better quality every single day. That's what we're here for. At Hangers Cleaners, we'll pick up and deliver right to your door, saving you time and money. Hangers Cleaners for all your fine linens, alterations, wedding gowns, leather, you name it, and we'll do it. Hangers Cleaners for your professional dry cleaning and laundry. Hangers Cleaners, the cleaner that cares. Hillcrest Parkway in Dublin.
Have you heard about the new general store in Menor? Drop by Menor General Store today at 2201 Highway 29 South. We've got breakfast, lunch, and dinner cooked fresh every day, 7 days a week. At Menor General Store, we have all types of feed: rabbit feed, dog feed, horse feed, or any feed for your livestock. We've got you covered. Going fishing? Menor General Store has your bait and tackle, coolers, and all your fish and tackle. Menor General Store for groceries, feed, fishing supplies, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. Well, you get the picture. Menor General Store's got you covered. Menor General Store, right down from Union Baptist Church. Call ahead at 279-5726. Menor General Store in the heart of Menor, Georgia.
Home is where the heart is, and Century 21 Durden Cornegay wants to match your heart's desire with the perfect home. Let our realtors at Century 21 help you find a new home. Realtors Brian Howell, Charlene Lamp, Adam White, David Deeves, Jennifer Brantley, Jay Brantley, Jim Jarrett, Ruth Watson, Charlene Brantley, Raina Dubberly, Yvonne Robertson, and broker George Durden will go to work to fill your heart's desire in a new home. So call Century 21 Durden Cornegay and let's make your dreams reality. Log on to C21Dublin.com for more information.